Today is November 20th, 2013, and we are at the James A. Lovell Medical Health Center. My name is Cheryl Walker, and I am with the Illinois State Library. Mr. Camacho was born March 8th, 1947. I will be interviewing Mr. Camacho for the record today. And Mr. Camacho, can you tell us what branch of service you served?
I served with the United States Army, and the service dates was from August of 1966 to August of 1969.
And what was the highest rank that you achieved?
I was an E5, which they call a Specialist 5.
And did you enlist, or were you drafted?
I was drafted, and then I enlisted, and then I re-upped for another year to get a schooling.
Where did you take your basic training at?
They sent us down to Fort Leonard, Missouri.
Okay. At this time, would you like to share your military history and story with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we started out, got drafted here in Waukegan, and went down to Chicago, and there they, we took testing and all that, came back home, and then we got a draft letter. We went into, they signed us up into the service. They sent us by trains down to Fort Leonard, Missouri. At Fort Leonard, we were basic training. They shaved all our hairs up and did everything, and got us ready for military life. But I already had some military stuff in the schools. We had ROTC, so it wasn't too rough on me. So I kind of went through basic training. From basic training we went, and this is during the wartime, so it was a lot of people there. We had to be in tents. They had tents outside for us to spend the time, because everything was overcrowded. After that, I got orders to go to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to study heavy equipment repair. And Fort Belvoir, Virginia. So I did 7 weeks there. It was a real nice place. I got to see Washington, D.C. At that time, Kennedy had passed away, which is, then we got to see the grave site. We didn't see the monument on it. That wasn't built yet, but we got there. Then after that, we finished at school, and I got orders to go to Alaska to finish it. So we stopped. The day they sent us was real snowy, and we had to stop in Cleveland. They put us up because it was too snowy. The planes couldn't land. From there, we went to Bremerton, Washington. We spent, Fort Lewis, the place. There we spent 2 weeks. I never saw the sun there. It rained. And then from there we finally got orders to Alaska, and they sent me to the 559th Engineering Company. And I stayed there a whole year. That was a good experience. We lived basically, we were in the woods because we were building roads for the national forest there in that national park. We have done stuff where no man had gone. We were making roads and stuff, and it was cold. Alaska was cold, but I got to see a lot of the scenery, mingle with some of the Indians, and we went through a earthquake, went through a flood, which the Army had to help out and get the town back in shape. After that, I spent the whole year there, and then I went back to. Then they sent me back to Fort Leonard, Missouri. Fort Leonard, they asked me if I wanted to be a sergeant E6 if I would, re-enlist for another 3 years, and I had doubts about that. And then after that, we did our work there, and then after that we went to. I got orders to go to Vietnam. That was in November of '68. So by the time I got to Vietnam, it was January of '69. So I spent about actually 7 months in Vietnam, and there Vietnam was it was a lot of work. We worked engineering. We did heavy equipment. Anything broke down, heavy. We were doing asphalt. We were doing asphalt for the Halipassy airports. When they bombed the airports, we worked real late at night to get this equipment repaired. And when you're a mechanic, you need hot water to get all that grease off of you and all that. And it was kind of rough. I had all my pores were black and everything. And after that, we did that, and then the Vietnamese, the Viet Cong, they wouldn't let us rest or anything. They would bomb, in the morning, bomb in the afternoon, bomb at the evening meal, and then before you went to bed, and then during the bed they always had you getting up and all that. So it was a rough life, but we were young, I think a young person can do stuff like that. So other than that, then I went to an R&R in Taiwan. I got to go to R&R. That was for a week. I was real interested there in Taiwan. We got to, I got to see some of the Chinese. That's part of China. It was called Formosa then at that time, Taiwan. So the Air Force ran the recreation part of it. So I got to go around the town. The girls, they had some girls there. They would meet us and everything, and they wanted to go to the movies, nightclub, but I didn't really drink that much or smoke. So I told her that I wanted to go to the theater, and I wanted to go to the see regular people, out in the mountains. So she took me out that way, and it was an interesting experience there now in Taiwan. And we came back. We went back to work, same routine. And then I got discharged. I came to the Andrews Air Force Base there in California. And there they parted us through. They didn't let us know what benefits you had. They just it was a fast moving thing. They had so many people. It was fast moving. But that was my experience. Then I got home, and I got home to Waukegan, Illinois, and I went back too early. The government tells you to go back within 2 weeks to go to work, and at that time I couldn't adjust, to the civilian life, because I had been outside and I went back to a factory. That was 8 hours. I was working outside for 3 years, and it was just a little different thing. So I decided not to work at that factory, and I went to work with my dad at a grocery store. Did you want to stop it? And then I just kind of, got married, had kids, and here I am.
Okay, let's step back. And so you were in Alaska. Where in Alaska were you?
Oh, okay. I was in Fairbanks, Alaska. Fort Lin. I can't think of the name right now. Not Leonard. Well, it was Fairbanks, Alaska, and then No.
Fort Lewis?
No. Alaska was. I can't think of the name right now, but well, anyway, I was up there. It was an old Air Force base in Fairbanks, and from there, I got to see some of the cities there in Alaska. We went all the way up to Nome, Alaska. We had maneuvers with the Canadians, and the Canadians, we were, we're supposed to be fighting the Canadians. The Canadians had those snowmobiles, which we didn't have. That was something new, modern to them, and they kind of whooped us good with those snowmobiles. And I got to see Anchorage, and it was different out there. It was kind of cold, but most of the time we were out in the field. At Mount McKinley National Park, they were building roads there.
So that, and were you working on the equipment, as the heavy equement?
Yeah,
Keeping
when they broke down, we set up tents and out there, and we set up tents. We kind of, when the equipment broke down, we had to work it. We had a heated garage. Everything was it was not a garage. It was like we made a tent out of it. I don't know what they call them, but we kind of had that heated up, and we had bonfires and all that, so we stayed kind of warm, and then we had good equipment, to stay warm in the service there in Alaska.
Was those heavy equipments, were they diesel?
Yes, they were diesel. They were, cranes, dozers, trucks, 5-ton, 10-ton trucks, jeeps, anything that move earth moving equipment, they call it, cranes, dozers, graders. We worked on all that stuff.
Is it difficult, or is there something special that you have to do to keep that diesel from not gelling up, or from?
Well, a lot of times they plugged them in. We had to plug them in, and then they added some agitator to the diesel. But a lot of times we just kept running them during certain times when we were using them. But at nighttime we would plug them in and keep the oil warm and keep the truck warm.
Did you have special uniforms to keep warm?
Oh yeah, we had parkas, and we had what they call bunny boots. They were white boots with insulation on them, and we had parkas and all kinds of stuff for that. That was a different time of the gloves. We had snowshoes, skis. All that equipment was issued to us just in case we had to we had to fight a war there.
And okay, you said you went all the way up to Nome.
Yes.
And Nome is quite a ways up there.
Yes, it is. You can see Russia from there. We got up to the mountains up there, and the guys used to point. There's Nome, and then once in a while when we were up there for about a month or something, and then you can see. I don't know if it's the Air Force people or somebody. They were testing they would test the elevators on the missiles. We got to see that.
Now, how did you get to Nome?
Well, we didn't go on a convoy. What they did was, since I was with a heavy equipment, they flew us in. So we had to drop our tent that we were going to set up for the night, and they dropped some of our equipment there too, So then we flew into one of the airports up there they had up there. So we got there. We didn't convoy. Then we had, trucks and stuff to get around there. It was, it was like a little war at that time, peaceful war. We were practicing for, cold weather war.
So then, from Alaska, you said you go to Vietnam.
Well, I went to Fort Leonard, and then
Fort Leonard.
Yeah, I went to Fort Leonard. There, we still teaching doing heavy equipment work, down in Fort Leonard there, and we kind of that's by close. That fort is there is real close to the Ozarks, so it's all the ground is all red and everything. But we fixed equipment there, and then I got to know some of the guys that came back from Vietnam. I hadn't gone, so they said, "You're lucky you didn't go." And sure enough, they sent me. I don't know why, but I got to go. So I went to Vietnam from Fort Leonard.
Did you? How'd they tell you? Did they give you
Well, they give you orders. They tell you, here's your orders. The piece of paper, and they tell you you're going here. But what they did is too close to Christmas, so they gave me. It was November, so they gave me the whole month, almost the whole month of Christmas off. So I had a report in January. So I reported to the Air Force Base there in California, in San Francisco, there, Oakland, California. There we had to wait 2 weeks there to get orders to go to Vietnam, or make sure they got enough people to ride on that plane or whatever they're going. We went there on a plane. It was 20 hours. We had to stop in. We stopped in Hawaii, and then we stopped in Okinawa, and then from there we went to the Ban Hoa Air Force Base in Vietnam, outside of Saigon.
And did they tell you what unit or what battalion you were going to be assigned to before you went to Vietnam? Or
No. We went over there and we just checked into. They had us go into the check-in center. From there, then they had us lined up. And then they say, you're going to Dong Tang. One morning, when they were ready, they lined everybody up, and then they had a certain section line. They had certain section of cities that we were going to Vietnam or camps. So I got to go to Dong Tang, and there they flew us down into Dong Tang. And I was a young man, wondering what life was going to take about, or, what was going to happen, Did a little prayer and all that, so, but, everything turned out good.
did you? Were you at the base camp every day?
Well, we work on equipment, and if we needed parts, for example, if something broke down, we would have to go to Benoit there and get parts. We used to call that the biggest junkyard in the world. They had all kinds of parts for planes. They had parts for this is in Saigon. They have for planes, heavy equipment, you name it. They had parts for it. So if we needed a part, we needed to go up there and get it to make an equipment run. We had to go get it. And usually a lot of times we took turns going. Some of the mechanics and some of the drivers, we took turns. But there's a lot of guys that didn't want to go because, we had to be on the road, and, some of those guys were scared. So, but I went most of the time. I got a chance to go, see something different and all that. So,
How long did it take you to get to Saigon?
Well, I would say about 2 hours.
Oh.
2 hours. It was about 2 hours run from there. I look back at that stuff, and I really didn't. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that. It just seemed like, life was just one big. It was one big time. We didn't have, we didn't have time like we do here. Like right now, we got a schedule. We didn't have a schedule. You just go do your work, and it seemed like it just revolves like a round circle. It wasn't a time thing. Yeah, it was a time thing and everything. So
You want me to get out, Miguel?
you can stay here
Um,
if it's okay with her.
did you, when you went into Saigon, did you actually get to climb around and pick up your own parts, figure out what you needed, and
Yeah, we checked in. We checked our weapons in. We when we went there, we had our M16s and we checked our weapons, checked our vehicles in. Then we went and got our parts. Usually we stayed there for about 2 or 3 days. So then they let us go into the nightclubs. So Saigon was a city where I don't know. I think the Viet Congs and the it's a major city in the war. Most of the people the politicians got it where you can't fight at certain spots. They I don't know. It's politics. Because I talked to some World War II guys, and they told me the same thing. You see in the pictures in the war, you see all this stuff blowing up, but it ain't so. It's it's different. It's different. They have a politics on it. You can't go blow up a museum or it's a politics to it. So we had a good time in Saigon for the days we were off, and then we ended up But the one thing I was kind of scared, but we had to turn in our weapons.
so, okay, it was, you would go and get your parts, and it'd be a 1 or 2 day. So did you do, like, sightseeing? Did you, sightseeing like a soldier would do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we went sightseeing. Well, we went to the nightclubs and saw some women, and drank up some of that Saigon tea, they call it. And, we had a good time. I was, you're 19, 20 years old there, it's a good time, and then you're thinking, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die happy.
Did you buy anything like in Taiwan or and send things home?
Yeah, I sent some, I sent a lot of stuff, but I got some pictures. I got some pictures of Mama-san, Papa-san. That's the Vietnamese. I got pictures there. I bought an elephant in Taiwan, and I sent that stuff home. And I sent a lot of other stuff, but my brothers and family, they got a hold of it and never seen some of it. I had a Vietnamese flag. I had some other things, but I didn't really send anything. I wasn't into too much of anything.
Uh-huh. Did you, was it difficult to communicate home? Or did you communicate?
Well, we wrote letters. And I wrote letters, and I wrote it to my mom and all that, not every day or, not every day. I just, maybe once a week, or I wrote my mom. I said, if you don't hear anything from me, that means I'm doing good, And I didn't want to worry her too much, So.
Well, even in Alaska, it would have been difficult to write home.
Yeah, it was difficult too in Alaska, but I still wrote. We didn't have over there I can make a phone call, but it would cost so much money. Nowadays it's different because they got cell phones, but over there, you had to do a lot of writing. It was nice to have a mail and all that. And we used to get some tortillas, some of the Mexican guys used to get some tortillas. We used to make some tacos at night, so.
When, even when you were in Alaska, did you have any entertainers come?
Oh, yeah, we.
Who did you see?
I saw, I can't think of their name now. I can't, it wasn't the monkeys. Man, That's a good question. I can't. The entertainers came, and then we went to see some of the Indians entertainers too. The people, the people outside. They had piano bars and all that. In Alaska, we can go off post and all. So that was, we go into Fairbanks there, and there was a lot of things to do there. You can go down the river canoe or ride a boat down the rivers, the Tanana River, and just kind of see the Indian villages and stuff. So, it was real nice.
Did you ever eat any of the cultural food?
Yeah, we ate salmon. We ate the food that they had. There, the Indians, they did a lot of smoked stuff, but basically, we would eat and go into town. But they had when there's a military town around, they got the same, hamburger and all that, French fries and you name it, spaghetti and all that. It's they're there to make money too. So when the military is in a town, they're making business. But I did eat some of the culture stuff. Basically they eat a lot of fish. And then they have some homegrown vegetables. That they grew, the vegetables and stuff grew big over there because you had a lot of daylight. At nighttime, the sun wouldn't go down. They wouldn't go down. So we were like playing baseball in the morning. At 12 o'clock, we were playing baseball and stuff. It was hard there. And then in wintertime, if you get up, it's dark, and you come out of work and it's dark. It was, but it was nice. It was nice. I look at my Army experience as a good experience,
When, how long, you said you came home and you went back to work way too soon. And then you went to work with your dad. Did you work alongside your dad all your life then after?
No, I worked for I did about 3 years of that, and then I said it's time for me to go do something, get insurance and so, and the grocery business, that was like 24 hours a day, working 24 hours a day. You had to get up early and close at late at night, and seemed like it was like Vietnam, so then I told my dad I was going to go try and find me a job, so I ended up at a small electronic factory. They make parts for the government. So I did a lot of the maintenance work, and I did some of the shop work and the shipping and receiving. We were small, so you had a lot of job titles. And the guy hired me because I had experience in the service, The service is a good reference for a job. If they don't, they don't make it with that PSD or whatever they are. Most of your people now, they're coming with that, and I think the businesses fringe away from that.
When you came home from the service, and once you started working, and did you stay in contact with any of your service friends?
No, I didn't. Sometimes I wonder whatever happened. Sometimes when I go to a national convention of our DAV or the VFW, I kind of try to find some people, but I didn't stay in contact with them. Once we finished there, we were gone. We were more individual. The reason is that we were all drafted from different things. You're going to be there 2 years. In 2 years, you're gone. Now they have it different, where people go in together and they come out together. But speaking of that, I had some friends when we were going to high school. They wanted me to join the Marines. Had a buddy system, okay, and I saw one of my friends just recently, and I asked him because he asked me if I wanted to be go in as a buddy. This is in high school, and I told him, I thought about it, and then I said no. So I saw him recently, and he said, I asked him the question. I said, "Do you think I made the right choice by not going with you?" And he told me, "Yes, you made the right choice." He said if he had to do it again, he wouldn't have done it, because he was in the Marines, and he went there early. He went in there in the 65. They used to walk all over the place and all that. So you see some people like that. I did see some of the guys I went to high school with one time. I was walking back from the canteen, and he was an infantryman, and somebody hollers Camacho, and I knew who it was. It was a guy named Henderson. We went to high school together. But most of the other guys that we got drafted and we went together down in Fort Leonard, we went our separate ways.
One of the questions that I was going to ask you is if you belong to any veterans organization, and you answered. You said that you belong to two.
I belong to actually 3 of them. Actually 4 of them. I belong to the DAV, Chapter 16, American GI Forum, which is the Hispanic of the American GI Forum is the Hispanic, equivalent to the veterans group. Then I'm a DAV. Okay, I said DAV. That's American GI Forum, and then the American Legion. I'm a member of that. I haven't got to the other one, MVETS, yet, but I am a member of 4 of them. But I try to be active. It's hard. Sometimes you got to dig. I've been active with the VFW a lot. We do the bingo on Thursdays and Friday nights, and then right now I'm gonna be helping George Rodriguez, the DAV. We're gonna be trying to do something different here. One of our older members, he's getting old and he's talking about stepping down, so he wants some new blood. So we're gonna try to, accommodate him on that.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I don't know. I wish they would bring the draft back. That's what I think it's good get these young kids off the streets and stuff. Other than that, I don't know. To me, the service was good, and I think it would, if you talk to a lot of people, other than guys that really got hurt or all that, and then sometimes they say the service was good to them. Some of these young people right now that are sitting around that don't have no job, that if they bring the draft back, they would have jobs. They can use these guys to close our borders and stuff. That's about what I got to say.
Now, you volunteer here at the Level Medical Center, Health Center. Can I ask you what you do here?
Well, I used to work here. So lately, I'm not sure. I'm going to be the deputy VAVS. When George is not around, I'm going to open that office, and we're going to, give some canteen books, visit some of the veterans up at at the wards and all that, and even the chapter guys, and then whatever they, if a veteran comes in and he's got a question about benefits and all that, I'll try to, I'm going to be trying to do it to, guide them to the right place, okay? Which like we already did Friday. And then when we get people that want to donate stuff, we're gonna when people want to donate stuff, we're going to try to pick that up, or we're going to get the benefits from that donation. Like one day we had somebody donated a wheelchair to us. They wanted to donate, so they say we can sell it and make money towards, the money goes towards the patients. Or now they got their women's vets, and they're coming on. There's a lot of women's in the service. I would say it's about 20% of the service are women. So we got to start doing something for them, and that's what we basically do. We try to help the veterans out.
Miguel, I, at this time, would like to thank you for the time that you gave our country and the time that you served our country. And am very honored that you've done that for us. And I would also like to thank you for giving me the opportunity and honoring me the opportunity of taking your interview today.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for doing this job. We need that history and all that. And I'm sorry we couldn't get you more vets. I don't know if you do it